everyone, welcome back to the Pharmacy India. So as you all know, Pharmacy India has started this series in which we are going to discuss best MCQs questions of some important topics. So in this class, we are going to discuss very important questions of human anatomy and physiology's chapter respiratory system. So without any delay, let's get started with our first question. The question is, which of the following cartilage is leaf-shaped and elastic fibrocartilage that play a crucial role in preventing food from entering the trachea during swallowing? Means when you swallow food, this particular flap-like structure covers trachea so that no food particle could enter the trachea, and the correct option is epiglottis. Clear? Epiglottis is that flap-like structure, clear, which covers the trachea to prevent food entry during swallowing. Clear? So the correct option is C. The epiglottis is a leaf-shaped and elastic fibrocartilage that acts as a flap over a trachea during swallowing to prevent food and liquid from entering the airway. Clear? Next. Gas exchange in the lungs occurs by diffusion primarily between the alveoli and which of the following structure? Means that exchange of gases, means carbon dioxide and oxygen, occurs between alveoli and which of the following? Option bronchiole? No. Why? Because bronchiole is that part where alveoli are present. Alveoli are present at the terminal end of the tertiary bronchioles. If we talk about blood capillaries, this should be correct option because blood capillaries surrounds alveoli like this and they carries carbon dioxide from all over the body. Clear? With the help of pulmonary circulation, as you all know, and alveoli contains oxygen. So the exchange of gases occurs between alveoli and blood capillaries. Correct option is second. Gas exchange primarily occurs between the alveoli and the blood capillaries inside the lungs. Clear? Inside the lungs, oxygen from the alveoli diffuses into the blood while carbon dioxide from the blood diffuses into the alveoli, which later then CO2 will be exhaled. Moving on to the third question, the mucociliary escalator is a defense mechanism of the respiratory system that primarily functions in which of the following structure? Alveoli, trachea, respiratory bronchioles or terminal bronchiole. Obviously, correct option is trachea. It is the windpipe. Clear? Windpipe. It is that pathway from which oxygen enters inside your body. And mucociliary escalator is a defense mechanism that helps trap and remove extra particles from the respiratory tract. It functions primarily in the trachea. Where mucus captures particles and cilia, move the mucus upward for expulsion. Clear? For exhalation. So the correct option is trachea. Clear? Trachea. Next. During inspiration, which of the following physiological event directly leads to the inflow of air into the lungs? Decrease in alveolar pressure, relaxation of the diaphragm, contraction of the internal intercostal muscles or increase in intrapleural pressure. Means that event which occurs during the inhalation, during the process of inhalation. Clear? If we talk about option number A, decrease in alveolar pressure, it can be a correct option, but option number B is not correct. Clear? It will be eliminated. Contraction of the internal intercostal muscles or increase in intrapleural pressure. Correct option is A, decrease in alveolar pressure. Why? Because pressure and area are inversely proportional to each other. If pressure decreases, area will increases, and if area decreases, pressure will increases. Clear? So if we lowers down the pressure inside your body, means alveolar area, the area will be increases and the air, means oxygen, flows inside your lungs and inhalation occurs. So option number A is correct. During inspiration, the diaphragm contract and move downwards, which causes a decrease in alveolar pressure. This negative pressure relative to the atmosphere causes air to flow into the lungs. Which of the following muscle is primarily responsible for the enlargement of the thoracic cavity in length during quiet breathing? Means quiet breathing means normal breathing. Normal breathing. Muscles of the abdomen, muscles of the neck, diaphragm or external intercostal muscles. Which of the following muscle is primarily responsible for the enlargement? Means for increasing the area. Correct option is diaphragm. Why? Because diaphragm moves inwards. Clear? Inwards you can say downwards. Clear? So that the area will be increases and pressure decreases, same as above. The diaphragm is primarily responsible for quiet breathing. When it contracts, it moves downward, increasing the volume of the thoracic cavity, which allow air to flow into the lungs. The pharynx serves as a common passageway for both air and mucus, air and food, oxygen and carbon dioxide, or blood and lymph. Basically, pharynx is a Y-shaped organ and is responsible for passageway for both food and wind, means food and air. So option number B will be correct. Clear? After that, it classified into two main parts: esophagus, which is also known as food pipe, and trachea, which is also known as windpipe. It is the windpipe and it is the food pipe. Alright. Which of the following characteristic distinguishes the right primary bronchus from the left primary bronchus? Bronchus means bronchi. Plural is bronchi. Singular is bronchus. And what are these structures? Divisions of trachea at the fifth thoracic cavity. Clear? It is longer and more horizontal. It is wider, shorter and more vertical. It supplies only two lobes of the lungs, or it has a smaller diameter. Basically, the right primary bronchus is wider, shorter and more vertical. Clear? So the correct option second is correct. The right primary bronchus is wider, shorter and more vertical to the left. This anatomical difference makes it easier to foreign particles or objects to enter the right lung compared to the left. Clear? So if we talk about the function, right lung functions more than the left lung. The pleural cavity between the visceral and parietal pleurae normal contains a thin film of serous fluid that primarily functions to. What are the visceral and parietal layers or pleurae? Basically, our lungs covered with the help of a layer which is named as pleura. And pleura is a double layered membrane. Outer layer is called parietal and inner layer is called visceral. Clear? And collectively these are known as pleura. Which is filled with a serous fluid named as pleural fluid, and it is used to prevent friction during breathing. Clear? Correct option is D. The serous fluid in the pleural cavity, which is also called pleural fluid, in the pleural cavity act as a lubricant preventing friction between the visceral and parietal pleurae during breathing. This allows the lungs to expand and contract smoothly without any problems. Which part of the respiratory system is also known as the voice box? Voice box is your larynx. Simple question. The nasal cavity plays a significant role in conditioning inhaled air by warming, filtering and humidifying the air, primarily facilitating gas exchange. No, gas exchange occurs between alveoli and blood capillary. Only filtering out large particulate matter or directly regulating blood pH level. No, it is not used to regulate blood pH level, and it cannot cannot act as the only filtering out large particulate matter. So the correct option should be A. nasal cavity plays a very important role in warming, filtering and humidifying the air which is inhaled. So the correct option is A. Clear? Option A is correct. The nasal cavity help condition inhaled air by warming, filtering and humidifying it before it reaches to the lungs. This conditioning help protect the respiratory system and maintain optimal lung function. So before moving on to the next question, I will suggest you some books. I will recommend you some books for your MRB Tamil Nadu Pharmacist Exam preparation. First is this, which is a totally objective book for MRB Tamil Nadu Pharmacist Exam, and it contains of 5,000 plus MCQs questions, 25 model papers, which is available in 4 Tamil language eligibility papers and 4 previous year paper for your practice. Clear? And it also contains 17 online test paper, which is totally based on your MRB Pharmacist exam pattern. It is available on Flipkart with cash on delivery, so you can order it from Flipkart, and also you can order it from the link which is given in the description box. And second is this theory book, which is also designed for your MRB Tamil Nadu Pharmacist exam preparation, and in this book it consists of pharmaceutics, pharmaceutical chemistry, pharmacognosy, ecology, biochemistry, HCP, pharmacy law and ethics, community pharmacy and management, HAP, social pharmacy, pharmacotherapeutics. Clear? It is also available on Flipkart with cash on delivery, or you can order it from the link which is given in the description box. Clear? Next, which of the following structure contains olfactory nerve endings contributing to the sense of smell? Basically, olfactory nerve endings are present in pharynx. Clear? Pharynx. And which pharynx? Nasopharynx, which is nearer to the nasal cavity. Nasal cavity. Clear? So the correct option is C, pharynx. The olfactory nerve endings responsible for the sense of smell are located in the nasopharynx, and it is the upper part of the respiratory system. The incomplete cartilage ring in the trachea are C-shaped primarily to. Now what are the functions of C-shaped cartilaginous rings which are present over the trachea like this? What is the function of these C-shaped incomplete cartilaginous rings? Mainly, these C-shaped cartilaginous rings help to prevent collapsing of trachea during inhalation and exhalation, provide rigid support against high intrapulmonary pressure, permit the esophagus to expand anteriorly. No, this should be not correct. Allow for greater expansion of the lungs. No. Facilitate the process of gas exchange within the trachea. Wrong. Option number A should be correct. Provide rigid support means it is used to prevent collapsing of trachea. Collapsing of trachea. Which can be occurred during the continuous exchange of gases or pressure exchange. Clear? So the option number A should be correct. Next, which of the following represent the sequence of airflow from the trachea to the alveoli? Very easy question. Trachea, bronchioles, alveolar duct, bronchi, alveoli, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, terminal bronchioles, respiratory bronchioles, alveolar duct and alveoli. Option number D is correct. Why? Because trachea, then bronchi, then bronchioles, then terminal bronchioles, and then respiratory bronchioles, alveolar ducts, and then alveoli. Clear? And with the help of alveoli, it is exchanged into the blood capillaries. External respiration involves the exchange of gases across the respiratory membrane, which are located in bronchioles, pleural cavity, alveoli or trachea. Correct option is C, alveoli. Clear? Which are the exchange site of gases, exchange sites of gases in the lungs. Clear? Option number C is correct. Internal respiration refers to the gas exchange that occurs between the alveoli and the pulmonary capillaries, atmosphere and no. Question is asking about the internal respiration, blood and the metabolizing tissues, the pulmonary arteries and veins. Correct option is C. That exchange which occurs between the blood and the tissues is known as the internal respiration. Clear? And external respiration occurs between the atmosphere and your nasal cavity. Oxygen is primarily transported in the blood in combination with plasma proteins, blood plasma, carbon dioxide or hemoglobin. Basically, around 97% of oxygen combines with hemoglobin. Clear? Combines with hemoglobin and form oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin. And this circulates in your blood. So option number D is correct. Hemoglobin. Clear? Around 96 to 97%. The primary respiratory control center is located in the cerebrum, pons, medulla oblongata or cerebellum. Basically, hindbrain which consists of medulla oblongata, and it is the primary site where the controlling center of your respiratory system is present. Clear? Medulla oblongata controls the amount or you can say controls the frequency of your respiration. Clear? Option number C should be correct. Pulmonary ventilation is best described as the exchange of gases between the blood and tissues, diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide across the alveolar membrane, movement of air into and out of the lungs, or transport of respiratory gases into the bloodstream. Pulmonary ventilation is simply the process of inhalation and exhalation. Clear? That occurs between the atmosphere and your lungs. Clear? So that is the correct option. Option number C, movement of air into and out of the lungs. The pulmonary ventilation refers to the physical movement of air into and out of the lungs. The process is driven by the pressure changes, means the pressure gradient that occurs between atmosphere and your lungs. This is called pulmonary ventilation. Clear? Next, the paranasal sinuses are air-filled spaces located within which of the following bones: mandible, zygomatic, temporal and occipital, maxillary, frontal, ethmoid, sphenoid, parietal, lacrimal, vomer or palatine, या nasal concave, hyoid or clavicle. Basically, paranasal sinuses are air-filled spaces which are located in your maxillary, means upper jaw bone. Frontal is forehead bone. Ethmoid and sphenoid are also the part of the cranium. Clear? Correct option is B. Maxillary, frontal, ethmoid and sphenoid. The paranasal sinuses are air-filled cavities which are located within the maxillary, frontal, ethmoid and sphenoid bones, and these sinuses help to reduce the weight of the skull and add resonance to the voice. Which of the following is a function of the larynx? What is the function of larynx? Larynx is basically the voice box. Warming and humidifying inhaled air, primary site of gas exchange, production of sound, filtration of particulate matter. What is the function of larynx? Production of sound, because it is known as the voice box. The larynx, also known as the voice box, is responsible for sound production, and it contains the vocal cord which vibrate to produce sound and also help protect the airways by preventing food and liquid from entering the trachea. So the correct option should be that. The diaphragm is innervated by which nerve? Where are diaphragm located? Diaphragm are located below the lungs. Clear? Question is asking about that which nerve is innervated by diaphragm: vagus nerve, intercostal nerves, phrenic nerve or spinal accessory nerve. Correct option is phrenic nerve. Clear? Phrenic nerve innervates the diaphragm, allowing it to contract and relax. Means diaphragm contract to increase area. Clear? Area. And relaxes to decrease or minimize area. This is the function of phrenic nerve, which allows the diaphragm's movement. This nerve originates from the C3 to C5 spinal nerves and plays a very important role in respiration. Next question. The hilum of the lung is a crucial area for the medial surface that serve as the entry and exit point for bronchi, blood vessels, lymphatic vessels and nerves, only bronchi and nerves, only blood vessels or only blood vessels and lymphatic vessels. Basically, the hilum of the lung, which is very important area on the medial surface, they serve as the entry and exit points of the bronchi, blood vessels, lymphatic vessels and also the nerves. Clear? Option number A should be correct. The hilum of the region on the lung's medial surface where the bronchi, blood vessels, lymphatic vessels and nerves enter and exit from the lungs or to the lungs. This area is essential for proper lung functions and communicated with the body. Moving on to the next question. During expiration, the pressure inside the lungs increases relative to the atmospheric pressure due to, I have already told you about this, active pumping of air out of the alveoli, increased blood flow to the pulmonary capillaries, relaxation of the diaphragm and elastic recoil of the lungs, or contraction of the diaphragm and intercostal muscles. Basically, during the process of expiration, the pressure inside the lungs increases relative to atmospheric pressure due to the relaxation of the diaphragm and elastic recoil of the lungs. Clear? It occurs like this. This is diaphragm during the process of inspiration. It relaxes and moves backward, means upward. Clear? With this, the area decreases and pressure increases and expiration occurs. Moving on to our second last question. Which of the following is not considered a primary function of the respiratory system? Gas exchange, warming and humidifying air, sound production and regulation of blood glucose level. Obviously, correct option is D, because regulation of blood glucose level is the function of hormones which are secreted from the pancreas. Pancreatic hormones. Example, insulin, glucagon. Clear? So the correct option is D, regulation of blood sugar or glucose levels. And last question, the conducting portion of the respiratory system primarily functions to. Basically, respiratory system is divisible into two main parts. First is conducting part, second is exchange part. The conducting portion of the respiratory system functions as to transport air to the respiratory portion or exchange portion. Clear? So, option number C should be correct. Transport air to the respiratory portion. Respiratory portion consists of lungs, means bronchial, alveoli, blood capillaries, etc. Clear? So these are the most important MCQs questions of respiratory system in human anatomy and physiology. I'll see you in next class. Till then, stay tuned with Pharmacy India. Thank you.